So we were getting into it during the break about who did what, why, and how. And I was saying to you that the media bit, and you were like, so did, NYPD, everybody. And I was like, well, when he announced it, then that sets the clock going, right? And you were like, nope, actually, this is what happened. So tell me, what do you know and how?
I want to clarify for your listeners, I don't know more than they know. I just have experience and I have a sense of how some things roll, and I have an opinion about this. Uh, Donald Trump, I don't think just tweeted out of randomly, right? Like Tuesday randomly, because what really happens is, and when you're the subject of an investigation and it looks like indictments are coming down, they will tell your lawyers, like, how do you want to arrange? They ask, like, how do you want to surrender? Do we need to take you into custody? Like, they're going to try to arrange the least confrontational way of issuing the indictment and processing the arrest. You saw that with other people like Bannon and like what was his name? A lot of the big
Michael,
people,
yeah,
right?
his lawyer,
Like
yeah.
all these people, they will tell them, hey, we're about to issue an indictment. How do y'all want to work this out? Because we can just come get you, or you can, but we would prefer that you surrender peacefully and process blah, blah, blah. And with Trump, obviously, there would be a lot of planning going on in that. So I personally believe that they did tell his lawyers, like, indictment is coming. How do you want to work this out? Do we do this in New York? Do we send marshals to you in Florida? Like, they're going to work that out. So I definitely believe that he was told, his lawyers were told that something was coming imminently. Now,
So as a lawyer, indictment, does an indictment always mean an arrest?
it always means that you are going to be processed in for you're going to enter the process. Now, you always have to make an appearance if you are indicted, right? You have to say you were indicted, and you have to make an appearance. Either you plead, what we call an arraignment, right? Like, I plead that I'm not guilty, I am guilty. You get fingerprinted, you get photographed, and blah blah blah, and then a decision is made as to whether you're going to be held pre-trial or you're going to be left to your own recognizance. Sometimes that involves bail, not always. Some things do not require a bail hearing, but many things do. And a judge will determine, hey, are you a flight risk? Are you a multiple repeat offender? Blah, 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 blah. And then they will, once you post bond, or you pay a bail bondsman to post bond, and then you are allowed to go out on your own recognizance until your next court hearing. Right. But there is a process, there is an in processing into the system once you are indicted. Right. And it can be a amicable, chill kind of thing, or it can be a really intense, you get no movement kind of thing, depending on what you're accused of and your your cooperation level, right? Like, if you get pulled out of a shooting in the street because you just, like, they're not going to be nice about it, right? But if you are not a violent offender and they feel like there's no need to escalate to that level, then they're going to process you as they would process a lot of other people. Right. And that's why most of the time when people get processed into criminal a criminal proceeding, it is of their own volition. They surrender. Like 90% of people turn themselves in. Right. But how do you know you're supposed to turn yourself in? Well, something gets sent to your lawyer, something gets sent to you, an arrest warrant is issued, right? Like, something happens to tell you, yo, you should show up in court and turn yourself in. You should show up at the station to turn yourself in. Right. I believe that those negotiations were going on between Bragg's office and Team Trump, which is why Trump went wild with 5150. My thing is that he went out and tweeted it, which, by the way, Bragg should have anticipated, because when does this man not tweet, right? And so he tweeted that something was happening. And so I think you're right. NYPD did the rational thing of, okay, are we going to staff up? Are we going to put up barriers? Are we going to traffic control? They did the rational thing. But there's no way NYPD would have done that without picking up the phone and calling Bragg and saying, yo, is this true? Like, do we need to? And Bragg would have been like, yeah, I mean, there were negotiations. There were things that Bragg could have easily done to say, no, this tweet is not true, right? Like I said, if it was not true that an arrest was imminent, and if it was not true that this was happening, all Bragg's office had to do was issue a statement saying, the district attorney of the state of New York does not move on the schedule of those who are under investigation. Their tweets have nothing to do with when we do or do not move on any case. That's all he has to say.
So it sounds to me that people are in positions that they're ill-equipped to actually handle, because your job as a federal prosecutor, as a DA, is more than just handing down indictments and investigation. It's also managing public opinion, PR, all of that is part of it. And the fact is, he's not doing that.
No,
and today you waited for, this was last week. We're now into Thursday, and you're just now putting out a very cryptic statement, but still we don't know anything. And you actually work for us as well. So let me just tell you, Alvin Leonard Bragg Jr., born in Strivers Row, Harlem. So he is a man with a lot of melanin. He earned his doctorate, his Juris Doctor from Harvard University Law School, same place as Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. He clerked. He did a lot of things. He worked under Elliot Spitzer at one point. He has, he has a storied career, but it feels like he's not done anything at this level, which requires him to do more. He was a member of the board of directors for the Legal Aid Society. He represented the families of Ramarley Graham and Eric Garner in a civil lawsuit brought against New York City. So he's got some chops there. Why would he bungle this? Because I feel it's bungled.
This is the second time, Karen, that he's been behind the narrative, right? The first time was when 2 or 3 of his prosecutors resigned because he scuttled, he ratcheted back and scuttled and pumped the brakes on their ability to go forward. And they were ready to issue indictments, and he stopped them because he was, again, behind the narrative. So they go out publicly and resign and say why they're going to resign. And then it wasn't until weeks later when he came back and said, oh, we're still investigating. I didn't stop it, blah, blah, blah. This is the second time that this dude has completely fumbled the football on the 1-yard line, right? Because, like I said, he knew that this narrative was quickly grabbed onto by the media and ratcheted up. And all he had to do to prevent the Charlie Brown Lucy football situation, all he had to do is put out a statement right then and there that the district attorney of the state of New York does not issue indictments or choose not to issue indictments on the schedule of anybody who was under investigation. He didn't even have to name Trump by name. That right there would have said, okay, we can't believe Trump's tweet. We don't need to get all amped up. And it's not just the media that gets ramped up. It's the people who gets ramped up.
Yes,
so let's just say hypothetically that some Trumpers did go up to New York on Tuesday and pulled out an AR-15 and shot a bunch of people. Would that blood be on Alvin Bragg's head? Yes, it would. Because if it wasn't his intention to move, he shouldn't have let Donald Trump say that he was going to move. He shouldn't have let that hang out there without responding, right? Because he knows this man has minions out there that will act on his word. Everybody in America knows that. So what kind of DA would take that kind of risk if it wasn't necessary? That's why I'm saying he was planning to move on Tuesday or Wednesday. He was, but he's now backed down and he's trying to save face. He's trying to say, oh, no, we never had a plan. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because if you didn't, you'd have said something. You did. You're backing down. The question is for what reason and for how long? And whether this is just a sign that he's never going to move, period, because anytime it gets really hot, he gets really chicken.